Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to see the precedence of selectors over each other because this is one of the very important topic which you should know. Because many a times, many people end up getting confused that why the CSS which they have applied is not getting reflected on the web page. And the reason behind that is the precedence of the priorities of selectors on each other. So what is this priority of selectors on each other? So that is, we have we have 5 selectors, right? Out of them, the 3 selectors which we are using mostly, that is the element selector, the ID selector, and the class selectors. So if you are using this all selectors together in your CSS file, it might happen that for the same thing you have applied 2 or 3 selectors. That means for the same element you have applied 2 or 3 selectors. So in that case, that particular element should take which CSS or which should take which selector on it is known as priority of the selectors. So it might be getting confused right now. You might be not understanding, but when we'll see it, you'll get more clear. So let's quickly see what is the priorities of selectors over each other. So if you remember, this was the external CSS which we created last time and we've applied it on our HTML document, right? And this was how it was looking, right? Now what I'll do is, this is my paragraph, okay, which is having a gray color. And I'll just remove all this paragraph. Okay, so there is only single paragraph which is having a gray color and nothing else. Okay, so if I go and if I run this, you can see the single paragraph with the gray color. Now what I'll do is I'll add a class over here in this paragraph, and the name of the class I'll put it as info. Okay, and I'll save it. And what I'll do is I'll apply some style to this class as well. So I'll apply info to this, I'll apply some style to this class. And how do we apply? The syntax is like this, and I apply color equal to maybe red. So what has happened here right now is that we have given the color to paragraph already as gray, but again, we are applying the class to the paragraph, okay? And for example, maybe there are 2 paragraphs, and out of 2, only for one there is this class has been applied, okay, and the another is not having. So what do you think, what will happen when I'll save it and when I'll run it? Let's check. What has happened is the paragraph was having gray color, which is there for the paragraph where the class was not present. But below paragraph, you can see where we have given a class, it has taken the class CSS instead of the element CSS, because classes are having more precedence over element or more priority over elements. So this is called as priority of your selectors. Okay, so whenever you are giving same color or same properties and values to your elements, okay, elements by using different selectors, the priority will be always given to class. So whatever you apply in class will get applied instead of the element. Got it? For example, if now I apply ID to the second paragraph which I have added. Okay, so for example, if I apply ID equal to important and I save it, and again I give a style to that. So what do you think? What will happen in this case now? Whether it will take the element color or whether it will take the ID color. What do you think? In this case as well, similar to what happened in the class, the ID will have more precedence over the element. So whatever you will write in the ID section will get applied instead of the element, okay, because it is having more priority. Okay, now quickly what I'll do is I will add this ID here as well. Now what do you think what will happen? Now this paragraph or this particular paragraph element is having a class and an ID as well. And my class is also having a CSS of color red, and my ID is also having a CSS of color orange. So what do you think this paragraph will take, whether it will take class CSS or ID CSS? It will for sure it will not take the element CSS, because we've already seen, because element is having the least priority, right? So it will either take the class CSS or ID, but which? Let's see it. Now it is red, and when I execute it, it turns to orange. So orange was the color given to ID, right? In ID. So from this, we understand that ID has more precedence and more priority than your class. So it goes like this. The less priority is for the element, and then the class, and then your ID. So if there is class present and an ID present for the same element, it will always take the ID CSS. Okay, so this is the priorities of selectors. One more thing with that is, for example, if you have declared your external CSS over here, and if we have declared the same thing, for example, I'll just remove this thing, and for example, my paragraph was there and I've written the same thing over here in head as well. Okay, how do we write? Style, and here we go, and then I'll close my style. Okay, so what will happen? The same thing I've written, and here I'm giving the color as red. Okay, there is an external CSS and there is an internal CSS as well, and both the means in the both CSS have given the color to paragraph. Here it is gray, and here it is red. So let's see which color does it take. It is orange. Why? Why it is orange? Okay, I've not saved this. That's why it is showing me previous one. Now the paragraph are changed to red. So red was a color which I gave where? Which I gave in internal. So does it mean that internal CSS is having more priority than external? Okay, so now what I'll do is I will simply move this link to here below my style. Okay, now let's see what happens. So now the color was red, but if I change it, so let's see what happens. Okay, so for example, if I go and if I run it, it turns to gray. How does it happen? Why? Because sometime before it was in red color, now it has changed to gray. What does it mean? It means that the way you're writing, okay, the content, how it is displayed, whatever is written at the last, whatever get loads at the last will be displayed, right? So if I change it and if I write it over here and save it and again I run it, what will happen? It will change to the red color, because it has taken the CSS, this CSS, internal CSS, because this is getting loaded at the last, right? And if again I do this, and if I write it below, what will happen? It will change to gray color, because link external CSS is given last. So it is getting loaded last. So remember, whatever is written last will get loaded and get applied. Okay. And one more thing with this is I am applying inline CSS as well. So external, inline, and internal, everything is there at one place. For example, style equal to color. Suppose I'm applying green. Okay. And then let's see what happens. Now, what do you think? What will happen? Whether this will get lowered, this will get lowered, this will get lowered, or this will get. Till now, we saw that link was getting loaded because it is written last, right? So if I do Control S and if I run it, can you see it has changed to green? This particular paragraph has changed to green because I've applied to only one paragraph. Okay. why it has not retained its gray color or red, but it got changed to green color. So remember this thing. So whenever we give inline CSS, it has the highest priority than the others. Okay, so this is priorities between the what to say, between the uh, loading, how when we apply the how when we apply and add the CSS, right? Means between the inline internal and external CSS as well, there are priorities. And what are the priorities? The way it loads. So whatever is the last, it gets applied to your web page. Okay. And when there is an inline CSS, no matter whatever and wherever you write it, every time this inline only will get applied, because this is having the highest priority, right? So this might seem a little confusing right now, but when you will try it by your own, you'll understand it more better. So please do it. Thank you.